So, hey, everybody. Um, I just wanted to share something on this Good Friday. Uh, I shared this with my FCA huddle yesterday, and it stuck out to a couple people, so I actually wanted to post it on a couple different things on Instagram and Facebook. And it was just interesting to me that everybody that we talked with yesterday on our virtual huddle was kind of amazed by this and the visual of it that I gave to everybody. Um, so it's Good Friday. Um, what does that mean to you? Um, Whether you're a Christian or you're not a Christian, um, these things really happened, and uh, it's something that I don't think the church actually really does a great job of explaining to everybody. They kind of give the happy, happy, joy, joy message. And um, what happened in this 24 hours to Jesus Christ was the worst brutal murder of a human being that could possibly happen. And um, we don't usually talk about that in church circles. We always talk about the the happy part of him raising from the grave, and that's why we celebrate Easter. Um, and yes, that's why we celebrate Easter. But we have to remember why. So we have to remember why. Um, and it was for our sins. So how I explained it to my FCA huddle yesterday was, I mean, you have to realize once Pilate handed Jesus over to the guards, they took him and they beat him. But it's the way in which he was beaten and the matter in which he was just totally ripped apart. I mean, they used uh, what was called a cat of nine tails, and it's a whip with little rocks on the end of it. And when they whipped him and they beat him on his back, it actually, when the rocks embedded in the skin, it actually stripped away his skin. And there's a verse also in the Bible, Isaiah 53:5, that says, for he was wounded for our transgressions, he was crushed for our iniquities, and by his stripes we are healed. Well, that is literally a description of the stripes going down his back and the rest of his body from that whip, from that cat of nine tails. So when you really take the visual of that, that's pretty hardcore. And I think that as church leaders, we often skip over a lot of the. I mean, we don't take away from his death, obviously, but we don't really explain it in terms that are visual. And I think that as people and as Christians as well, but there's a reason why Jesus did this. It was totally orchestrated and on purpose so that we would have a visual, tangible thing that we could see and touch, and that's for the people that were there. They could see it, they could touch it, they could smell it, they could, all of that, all of their senses were overloaded with the sight of their Lord uh, being ripped to shreds and then nailed to a cross to die, and then poked in the side with a spear to make sure he was dead. I mean, he had to carry the cross all the way up at his own thing that his instrument of death. It's pretty hardcore. And the reason why I'm bringing this out is because he literally had to carry the weight of the world on his shoulders after he had been ripped to shreds. And the visual of this is what I'm trying to get to is that was the visual tangible evidence of all of the sin in the world from then to forever. So he literally gave us a visual representation of what our sin looks like. This is how ugly and how brutal and bloody our sin is. And he took all of that onto him, onto his body. And he did that for you and for me, so that we didn't have judgment anymore, so that our sins would be forgiven, so we no longer had to offer sacrifices in order to get right with the Lord. He made it so that was it. That was the one. It took everything, all of those sins, and he was brutally murdered for you and me. And it was so cool yesterday that the kids really, that stuck out in their mind when I was talking to them about this. And I just felt like I needed to share it again and put this out there on Facebook. And yes, it's Good Friday, but think about what Jesus went through today. He was betrayed. He was mocked. He was murdered, all because he spoke the truth. And this is the reason why I believe what I believe, because of what he went through for me. And the gravity of that is something that's very heavy, and it shouldn't be taken lightly. And I just wanted to put this out there for you guys today. Yes, we need to celebrate Easter and his resurrection, because guess what? That murder would mean nothing if he did not raise from the grave, because if he just got murdered as just another prophet that they called a blasphemer, and he got killed. That's what it was. So if that's what it was, and he didn't raise from the grave, then it would mean nothing. But he had to do that. He had to go through all of that to give us that visual, tangible evidence of your sin that he bore for you. And then the culmination of it was him proving that he is the Lord by raising from the grave. Again, in a physical, tangible form. He did that all on purpose. It was orchestrated from before time was time that this was going to happen. And even in the midst of that, even him knowing that this was going to happen before it happened, he still said, Lord, please take this cup from me, because he knew how brutal it was going to be. But he went through it anyway, because he knew it was God's will for him to do it. So anyway, I just wanted to leave that with you guys today. I hope you are well. I hope everybody is staying safe. And I just want to say I love you all. And it is a happy Easter, but it's a happy Easter because of that brutal, brutal murder. But again, remember that visual, tangible evidence that he went through. All of those physical scars were so that we could see the weight of sin in this world. And remember that he did that so that you are free from it. You are free from that sin. And all you have to do is believe in him. I hope you're well. Happy Easter. Love you.